Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the site of the tallest state capitol in the United States at 450 feet tall with 34 floors. It was completed in only 14 months, was the brainchild and dream of Governor Huey P. Long, and it was constructed in 1932. Okay, we're here at the state capitol. We're just in the lobby area. I'm going to take a little tour. I was fortunate that I got to visit many times in the 70s and 80s with my parents and grandparents growing up as a young man. And I remember how thrilling and intriguing it was coming here. I remember walking up the front steps, the long walk up the steps, and then going in and all the beautiful, intricate artwork, and then going to the top and overlooking the Mississippi River and just being at such a great height. It's really thrilling. But what intrigued me the most was the idea of knowing I was standing right where our former governor, Huey P. Long, was shot and assassinated. Could actually see all the bullet holes and chips in the wall and stick my finger in the bullet hole. And they have you'll see now the bullet holes are patched. He was senator at the time, but he was our former governor that was assassinated there. So there's a lot to this story, and I'm hoping to share some of that with you today. Huey P. Long, the Kingfish, the father of the Share the Wealth program where he was taking money from the oil companies and giving it back to the people. He had the free textbooks program for the schools, free college and vocational schools. He was a populist. He was also an isolationist, but he had about 8 million members in his Share the Wealth plan. He had about 20 million radio listeners. He got 60,000 letters a week in the mail. He paved all the state highways, built hundreds of bridges, the tallest state capitol. He built all the charity hospitals. He was a proponent of free health care for the poor. Finally, the Democratic legislatures tried to impeach him on Bloody Monday because he wanted to impose an increased oil tax on oil companies and distribute it to the population. He was a successful trial lawyer and a proponent of workers' compensation. He defended individual civil rights, and he was one of the first attorneys to sue large multinational corporations. He wanted to abolish the Federal Reserve, very much like JFK later on. Senator Long was assassinated at about 9 o'clock p.m. He had been there that day gerrymandering one of his opponents, Judge Huey P, who was a seated judge. And gerrymandering is a process of realigning the boundaries of the electorate to influence specific outcomes. Judge Pavey had a son-in-law, Dr. Carl Weiss. Carl Weiss was a brilliant surgeon, ear, nose, and throat surgeon. He had extensive training and was involved with the Masons and some very powerful people here in New Orleans. He was trained overseas. He spoke multiple languages, French and German and others. He was a sculptor and a musician. He played a few different instruments. I can't recall which. He studied in Vienna, Austria, and in Paris, France. Dr. Weiss is 29 years old. He's got a beautiful wife at home, a brand new newborn baby, and this is the guy that they claim kills Huey Long. Dr. Weiss is having a normal day. No one seems to see any abnormal behavior. He goes to a patient's house, they talk, he calls the hospital to arrange a surgery for the guy the next day. Then he leaves and goes to the state capitol. He tries to approach Huey P. Long. Huey P. Long brushes him aside. Numerous times he tries to talk to Long, and Long keeps brushing him aside. Finally, he jumps out, he strikes Huey P. Long, then apparently, according to his bodyguards, he pulls out a pistol, which he owned a .32 pistol, but Huey Long was struck with a .38. Then all of the bodyguards pull out their weapons, which were .38s and .45s. They had a Thompson machine gun, and they unloaded on Weiss. Weiss was struck 61 times, 30 times in the chest, 29 times in the back, and twice in the head. That hospital is where they took Huey Long after he was shot. He built that hospital. It was called Our Lady of Lake, right there, yeah. He built all the state hospitals.
Hurry up, man!
Tora.
Hold on, wait. I think there's a telescope thing around it. Or you want to come around it with me?
So Huey P. Long is buried right there underneath his statue with 15 feet of cement on top of him. So they dug a 15-foot hole, poured cement on top of it, and then put the statue on top of that.
Is that symbolism, baby?
I don't know. Could be. You see a pentagram, or what do you see? I know they buried Long underneath 15 feet of cement right there. That's where he's buried after they killed him.
Right?
The bullet holes are in here. Well, he was gerrymandering. Governor Huey P. Long was gerrymandering Judge Pavey, and that means he was trying to get him off the seat, basically, to get his own cronies in position. And he had been walking up, through the chambers, and Dr. Weiss, who his supposed assassin, was trying to interact with him during the day, wanted to talk to him, and Huey Long kept brushing him aside, wouldn't talk to him. And finally, he was standing right here, and Governor Long came to one of these offices, I guess this one right here, and he turned around and he confronted him, and he either punched him, I believe he punched him, but they say he pulled out his gun and shot Huey Long right here. So you see all the patch marks here. I think one perfect bullet hole right there. You can stick your finger in. And look right here, Matthew. This is where he fell. Right here, Dr. Weiss hit the floor.